When working on a piece, we must see in details what are visible on the score and at the same time what are not visible on the score. I would like to share in this Ballade 3 some examples of the difference this way of practice will make. First, let's have this opening phrase of Ballade 3 as our first example. This motif, or array of notes arranged in a particular way, is actually the generating idea for the entire piece. Let us analyze its property. It is scale-like moving upward from E flat to an octave higher E flat. Here is the comparisons of what we see and what we do not see, but we will make a connections in our mind. At first, Chopin builds up our expectations from the first 6 notes moving upward that this will continue as a complete scale. But interestingly, Chopin skipped the notes that will determine whether this is an E flat major scale if we have D natural or an A flat major scale if we have D flat. Instead, Chopin gives us an escape tone F. Because of that, this motif is then phrased into 2 divisions. The slur that Chopin wrote indicates that, and throughout this piece, Chopin will improvise each divisions. More than these compositional technique revelations, something of utmost importance should not be missed here. It is the playful spirit behind its apparent sweet nature. The escape tone truly fulfills its name. It escapes the most crucial tone, D natural or D flat. How naughty. The whole gestures of this motif is also like a question mark because of this escape tone. By comparing what we literally see and what we need to imaginatively see, we learn it will give more meaning and life to the music that we play. What we discover theoretically will be manifested in our performance. So here is our starting point to see many more discoveries throughout this Ballade 3 of Chopin and know that they mean and what are their applications in our performance. And now, the following segment of the melody reveals the secret note. It is a D flat. The way we play this D flat will be different when we have learned its history. This following phrase started with D flat is having the opposite gesture, going downward, and it is important to be able to portray the outline, especially when the music is not in a straight line. Strangely, after seeing this straight outline, we can see better and enjoy more the flexibility of the line. That is meandering half step down, then a slight upward curve, before making quite a significant leap at the interval of fourths. Let's put together the first 4 bars and let's see what we will find. Here is our conclusions. It is an octave up and from the same range, an octave down. I compose music and this is the kind of thinking I have before pouring out the music on the paper. A clear directions and a clear gesture before writing elaborations and decorations. But this is more than a mere technical discovery. There is something that is of much more importance. This confirms and amplifies the playful spirit we have previously discovered. This will make a big difference in our performance. We need to realize that this technical discovery functions as the door to see what lies deep beneath the music. Now let us have a bigger door, a bigger opening. When we see these first 8 bars of the opening in a clear way, such as what I am outlining here, we hardly miss to capture the playful spirit. Not just singing, but kind of dancing as well here. What seems to be disintegrated fragments of the opening is actually a playful, whimsical, witty dance of the spirit. But there is more to this. The first 6 bars is filled with 3 phrasing segments and each ends on the note E flat, which is the 5th scale degree in the A flat major key. 2 of them are even from E flat to E flat. So many E flat here. Only after waiting for 6 bars that we finally arrive at home. So what does this mean? Tension. Building up tensions. The greater the tensions, the greater the relief. The greater tensions and relief mean the greater drama in the music. But if only we are aware of what Chopin has constructed here in this opening. Just like the air moves from high pressures to low pressures, so does the music, always seek for the relief. Our performance naturally will have a strong sense of directions by the presence of these tensions and relief. And of course, our performance become more purposeful and has a deeper meaning. I hope I have given enough reason how important it is to see what is beyond the visible score. And this skill does need training. That means it grows with experience. The more we practice it, the more the skill will grow. We have here for the first 8 bars what we have discussed at the introduction. The going up of the motif scale-wise and its reverse directions heading down, both aiming for note E flat and finally arriving at A flat. Now let us see what happens at the next 16 bars. First, I will give you the map here for the next 16 bars. For the right hand, it is actually backward. The directions of the first 4 bars is from E flat to A flat. Look at the purple color. Now here we have A flat to E flat, the green color. Notice also the small bumps due to the escape note F to E flat. However, the more interesting work of Chopin is on the left hand. Chopin also reversed the order, previously going upward first, now going downward first, and now in chromatic scale. E flat, D natural, D flat, then C, C flat, then stop halfway off the scale at B flat. Here we are on the map, and I'm going to give you a clear picture of this downward chromatic scale, and also the outline of this gesture. Then it repeats with few decorations. It gets more interesting as the right hand picks up the same gesture, going downward chromatic and scale-wise. Same range, from E flat down to B flat, but the inner voice continues to make a complete octave downward to E flat. Then it repeats an octave higher. Being able to see this all will help me as a performer to direct the music purposefully as intended by the composer. Or in other words, we see the music as close as possible to the way Chopin constructed this piece. We do not get lost in the journey. We know where is our destinations and how we will come to that destinations. Such as here, we do not get lost in the downward motions if we are able to picture the overall constructions of this first page. Let us hear the entire first page of this ballad to get a strong picture of what Chopin constructed here. We often think this is the second theme or the contrasting theme. Indeed, we may say that, and it is correct. And let's call this second theme to make it easier for our discussion. But I would like to point out where this theme comes from. Let's bring back the opening theme. Remember the second segment of the opening theme? Here the outline helps clarify that its directions is downward to the 5th scale degree, and it helps us to see the second theme connections to the opening theme. But let us take a look at the A flat versions of this second theme for an easier picture of the connections. Here is the A flat versions of the second theme. The 5th scale degree is E flat major. The gesture is scale-wise downward with a twist, skipping the first scale degree A flat and giving it at the very end. So here are the notes of the motif at the score. But there is more excitement here. Chopin wrote a counterpoint in an upward scale. So here, as if the first and the second segments collide. Now let's go back to the first appearance of this second theme in C major. So here is that second theme notes in C major and does not have yet here the counter melody. Beside the note pattern connections, the second theme also has a rhythmic pattern connections to the opening theme, introduced for the first time at the escape tone fragment. Then it spreads all over the place, literally the entire ballad tree, not just this first page. This rhythmic pattern becomes the source of the galloping left hand at the second theme. The syncopated rhythm of the melody at the first page is also being used at the second theme. It is amazing how efficient, but yet so contrasting, that from the same material Chopin could create this beautiful second theme. But let's talk about the C major tonality here briefly, because there is an interesting fact. From A flat major, it is third above, or it is the very commonly found third related key modulations during the Romantic era. But also C major is the dominant of the F minor key, which is the relative minor of A flat major, the home key of this piece. Here we come to the dark side of this piece. Another interesting fact, Chopin did exactly this prolonged dominant as a deceptive tonality in his fourth ballade as well. And this explains the presence of the C-sharp minor sections in the middle of this piece. Now the prolonged dominant tonality is the home key A flat major. Therefore, the tonality comes to the tonic C-sharp minor. Now we question, is it this F minor or the C-sharp minor that is the true second theme? The sections in C major or A flat major as the transition theme? For me, this labeling is only a matter of identifications, whichever a person is comfortable at. For me, it is not essential. The content is. And now we should take a look at the minor theme, because it is another transformation of the initial motif. Chopin uses the scale part of the first segment as the source. Here Chopin divided the 6 scale notes into 2 divisions. Instead of having the first note going up, we have it going down from an octave higher E flat. Chopin reversed the directions of the 3 notes in the blue area. It is amazing how efficient Chopin is in recycling the materials. Here is another transformations of the motif, or we may say also variations on a variations. Here is more transformations of the original motif, the downward one, from the second segment of the opening motif. The seemingly new motif is actually the development of the original motif, the tail of the first segment, the escape note slur. Here is the same development at a different passage. Another example of the same transformations right before the climax of this piece. Now, after seeing the development of the tail of this first segment, let us find out if Chopin also develops the main part, the 6-note upward scale. In fact, Chopin did. This is another example of motivic development, similar to what he did with the minor theme, dividing the 6-note scales into 2 divisions, then rearrange their appearance. Here, Chopin transposed major third higher to C major. I ask myself, was Chopin conscious about all of these fluid transformations? Perhaps yes, Chopin was conscious in view of them, but effortlessly transforming the motif. Or Chopin may not be conscious at all. But 2 things to remember. First, Chopin was a genius, and second, Chopin had gone an intense training, mostly self-training, so that he could write the numerous transformations effortlessly, or he could write them without being aware of what he did. And this is why we call Chopin a genius and a masterful composer. And on top of that, Chopin is a great artist who could capture the elusive soul and emotions into music so exquisitely beautiful and profound. To have our eyes open to this is priceless, and definitely will make us a better performer of his works in many aspects. But most of all, we could come as close as it gets to his intentions beyond the visible notes on the score, such as the playful spirit not written on the score as the very first example we have.